Trixie. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing 10 modern classics that I hope to read in 2022. Now, first of all, these are what I consider modern classics. This is just my idea of what a modern classic is. It's basically popular fiction. So that's what I consider a modern classic. These are books that I found on lists and other people have mentioned them over and over again that I should read. And through the years I've picked them up, but they've just sat there. Now, a couple of these I've shared on my Should I Read These video, and I kept them because everyone that commented was like, yes, you need to read that book. So that's what those are from. And then there's some others that I haven't mentioned, but they've been on my shelf for a long time. So here we go. The first one was one that I mentioned on that Should I Read These video, and that is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Now I have 2 copies of this, so I definitely need to read it. In that video, I shared a hardback of this that was actually A Tree Grows in Brooklyn and Maggie Now, I think is the name of the other novel in that set. And then I saw this one, and I think it was free. I think it was actually in a free bin. But still, I have 2 copies, so I definitely need to get to that one. And then another one that I mentioned in that video that a lot of people were like, yes, you should read that, it's well worth the read, was Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. And this is not very long. I don't even think it's 250 pages. But it's just depressing. I know that it's depressing, and so I have just put it off. But this 2022 is going to be the year that I read this. So that's on there. And then this one was in that video too, Christy by Kathryn Marshall. This is the namesake for the Christie Award, which is a Christian fiction award that's given out for excellent fiction in many different categories every year. And so I have wanted to read this for a long time. Again, I found this book in a free bin, and it's in great shape, and it's just been sitting here. So I need to read this one too. And then this one has been sitting here because it is almost 1,000 pages. I mean, it's just a clunker. And that is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. Now, I loved this little movie, and everybody knows this movie. And I grew up on this movie. It used to come on TV all the time. And then once we had a VCR, we even had the VHS tape. Yes, I'm showing my age, but way back then, that's how we watched things if we wanted to watch them over. And so I know that this story is much more than that little movie with Vivian Leigh and Clark Gable. So I want to read this, and this has been sitting on my shelf for way too long, for a very, very long time. So I want to read that one. And then I also have some other books. Now, this is what's funny. A lot of these other books that are on my TBR for Modern Classics are actually children's books. But I've had them forever. I taught 3rd grade, and I had a library full of books. People would, parents would give me books, other teachers, my family. And so I had a lot of children's classics. But a lot of them I just never could get to because there's a lot of great ones. So these are some that I have that I really need to get to, and they happen to all be Newbery Award winners. I want to read all the Newbery books. Now, there are honor books, honorable mention books. I'm not talking about those because there's just way too many. But I do want to at least read the award winner for every year. And because there are some really great stories. Some of my favorite children's fiction are Newbery winners. So that's why I have these on my shelf. And the first is The Voyages of Dr. Doolittle by Hugh Lofting. I have wanted to read this for a very long time. I know they've made several movies of this, and so that's on there. Another one, and this is, I should be ashamed of myself. I actually met Lois Lowry. The Giver by Lois Lowry. Now, I've read, what's the other one that she wrote? Oh, I can't remember. It's about World War II. I can't think what the name of it is. Anyway, I actually met her. She was at this book conference we went to, and she did a talk, and there was just a few of us in the room, so it was like I was one-on-one with her, and I enjoyed it so much I should have went home and just read everything she's ever written. But I haven't read The Giver, and I know they've made a movie of this too, so that's on my list. Another one that I actually bought this recently. This was in my library at school. When I left teaching, I left a lot of my books for the next teacher, so she would have something to build from. And one of those was The Witch of Blackbird Pond by Elizabeth George Speer. And I have wanted to read this for a very long time. I know about this book because I taught 3rd grade, and I think one of the 4th grade teachers did a unit on this every year. So I know a lot about this one, but again, I haven't read it, so I want to read this one. And then there's another one by Elizabeth George Speer that I left in my classroom and had to buy another copy, and that is The Bronze Bow. And this one, now this one is about the witch trials, I think. I think that's what this one is about. And then this one is about, it's set during the days of Jesus, around the time of the crucifixion, I think. I'm not sure of that, but I think that's what this one is. So those are some that are award-winning books in children's fiction that I really need to get to. And they, again, have been on my shelf for way too long. And then I have a couple of other books that I want to get to, but these are series. When I say modern classics, it's pretty much the series is what I mean by these. The first one is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is basically representing Agatha Christie because I want to read more Agatha Christie. And I know that Murder on the Orient Express, everyone and their grandma has read this, and I haven't. So I've got to read this one very soon. And I've actually watched a movie of this recently with my son a couple of years ago. A new one came out, and we both really enjoyed the little movie. But I've never read it, so I need to get to that. And if you watch my channel, you know I'm trying to read at least one Agatha Christie a month, and I'm really enjoying that. And then finally, the other series that this one book's going to count as this series is The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. Now, I have read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe many years ago. I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but I was very young when I read that. But that was the only one in the series I ever read. Then, when I don't know, this has been many years ago, my son was my 17-year-old was in school, and he liked the Chronicles of Narnia. He enjoyed this series. And he had read The Magician's Nephew, this one, which is the first one. And he told me how great it was. You need to read it and all this. And I was like, okay, you know, I don't know why I never picked it up. I love Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I don't know why I didn't pick any others up. So he put it on my nightstand because that's what they would do when they would want me to read something. They're just kind of sleeping on my nightstand. So I just picked it up one night and I just could not put it down. I read right through it and I thought, this is good. I love this. But I never picked another one up. So I have only read The Magician's Nephew and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And what's so great about this is my son, the 17-year-old who loved the series, we were talking the other day about my goals and all that, and I was telling him about buddy reads, that I'm excited about some buddy reads I have coming up. And he said, well, I'll buddy read the Chronicles of Narnia with you. So I thought, okay, that's great. I mean, if your kid wants to read something with you, you say yes. So he has told me that after Christmas, because he's reading something else and I'm reading a lot of things too, we're going to start with The Magician's Nephew and we're going to go through and read all of those together. So I thought that would be a lot of fun because I know I'm going to enjoy it. I enjoyed the first two, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the Chronicles of Narnia. And I also want to read some other C.S. Lewis too that other people have told me about. I've read several C.S. Lewis books, and I love his writing, and so I definitely want to get to those. So those are some books that I consider modern classics that have been sitting there waiting to be read, and I'm really excited about these books. Now, I have a lot of other modern classics on my shelf. Those are not the only ones, but those just have been calling to me. Those are the ones that I've looked on my shelf and thought, I really want to get to these this year. So do you have a modern classic that you're looking forward to in 2022, or do you have some reading goals that you have for next year that you would like to share with me? Let us know in the comments so that others can see what those goals are too. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.